Driver of the Year event, which is only giving an invite to the best drivers here. And I'm excited to speak to Clinton Bell, who's the leader of Club 73 and the master behind all the scenes at Buckmore Park. Clint and his team have been a big part of my life in my karting career since I was first started here in Bambinos, and he's made me the driver I am today. So thanks for your time today, Clint, and I've got a few questions for you.
No worries.
First of all, what makes Buckmore Park different from other tracks?
It's a hard question, if I'm honest. Most circuits in the country have got their place. There's no bad tracks, in my opinion, but I think Buckmore have pushed the limits of what a rental car circuit can be. I know we do owner drivers, but we're obviously a big corporate circuit. But we just try and give every driver or every customer that comes in the building the same experience, whether it be a first-time driver or an experienced driver like you. We want them to have that same experience, coming in, welcomed by all the members of staff, having the best equipment, whether it be gloves, suit, and then obviously the cars. We always have the top end rent fleet and replaced every couple of years. And we just try and give that experience like a Silverstone of the karting world. It doesn't, mean other circuits are not as fun or good to drive. I like to race plenty of circuits, but I think when you come here, you can tell the level's been raised, and we'll always treat every customer the same as if they've been coming to us for years, and not just a customer.
Okay, now, what's your role as race director, and have your favourite memories been since you started?
Race director, I obviously, I'm a host for all the events, and I direct all the junior club series here, the adult series, big events like the 12-hour and the 24. And it's a bit of a clerk of the course, just making sure everything's run, rules that we implement here with safety, etc., and just making sure the staff are doing what they're doing, obviously, and just making sure all the racing is run fairly, clean, as exciting as possible. Memories wise, some junior club events. There's been some junior club races in the past. I'm sure you've been involved in some of them. The 24 hours is always good. I always remember when we had Surtees families or John Surtees cars, bikes going around. That was always good. I always look forward to the 24-hour though, especially the start where you're doing the Le Mans start type thing. But there's been,
I've seen it on TV as
yeah,
well.
and all the YouTube stuff. We do so many big events here. It's always exciting. There's always something different. When we've had Lando Norris here doing the Hot Lap Challenge, etc., or Kart Racer Champions that I'm involved in. But one of my biggest things is always watching the drivers grow up. Like yourself, where you started in Bambinos, it's nice to see the progression and then end up where you are now, doing driver, the star pupil, and moving on to Club 100. It's always good. Or people like Piers Pryor, where you see people end up racing in cars. But I'd probably say the big events that we do here, like the 24, are probably one of the best ones.
Question number 3. How do you approach most of the strategies in the technical track?
Me as a racer, I've obviously raced a few times here. I've always been a big believer in being as smooth as possible, minimising penalties or warnings, etc. I'm a big fan of endurance racing, so I'm one of those type of drivers that just tries to keep it clean, tries to keep it as consistent as possible, and try not to let outside things affect me. We've obviously chatted and done lessons before where we spoke about the mental side of racing, and just focusing on doing the best that you can do and trying not let everybody else affect you. A bad result not to ruin your whole day. So a technical circuit like Buckmore, I'm just trying to keep it smooth as possible, not be too ragged, not be too excited at the steering wheel. But just keep it nice and smooth as possible.
Okay, number 4. How do you think karting can inspire young drivers to pursue a motorsport career?
I've obviously been in it a long time, and I've seen what the benefits are of doing this sort of thing. I think it's not just the racing, it's the community, the friends that you make, teaching you discipline because of obviously the rules, etc., and just getting some respect for others. karting is such a valuable thing for going up that motorsport ladder, as teaching you the racecraft, the cutthroat nature of racing, and having to deal with adversity and decisions, having a penalty and then coming back from it. There's obviously people that have gone up that motorsport ladder without doing karting, but I think the majority of people that have gone as far as up to F1 or GT racing, there's always been a part in their career where they've been doing karting. So I think it's a massive part for people that want to go on that level.
Yeah. So, what inspired you to become a race director in karting?
I obviously was a racer before I got into this profession. Funnily enough, when I was growing up, I was more into bikes. I grew up watching motocross. My family were into motorsport, but I grew up watching bikes, and I actually started riding bikes when I was young. I had a bit of a crash on the circuit, and it scared me a little bit when I was 7, I think it was. And my dad took me to my local kart circuit, which was an indoor one around the corner from where I lived. And I was hooked. And I ended up racing there as a customer. And funnily enough, I was racing there one time and there was a job going. And I got a job as a part-time marshal, and I ended up 7 years later managing that circuit. And I've just carried on. I'm very passionate about karting. I want many people to enjoy the sport that I'm passionate about. But yeah, if it weren't for that crash, I might have been racing motorbikes and not even watching karting. But it is what it is. This is where I am.
What's the name of the kart track that you first started?
It was IndyCart in culture stuff. A lot of people know that circuit. It's a fantastic track. Very small indoor track. But yeah, I started there as a part-time marshal. Then I was a mechanic. And I was a race director. Then I become manager of that circuit. I worked at that track for 10 years. It's actually a gymnasium now. But every time I drive past it, I do remember the circuit. I've got a lot of friends that I'm still friends with, that I made friends from that circuit. And I still meet people like Piers Pryor, who is a commentator for Alpha Live. I taught him when he was 8 years old at IndyCar. Holds big memories. I mean, IndyCar culture stuff.
Final question is, what are the most important skills for a karter to actually do well?
The most important skills, obviously, there's got to be some talent there. There's got to be some raw speed. Otherwise, if you've got no speed, you're not going to be up there.
Yeah.
Personally, be a sponge at your early stage. Listen to everybody. Watch other people. Learn from it. Don't get stuck in my way is the only way. If somebody's quicker than you, then they're quicker than you. Learn what you can from that driver. And like I said earlier, not everything in karting is just in the kart, is up here.
Yeah.
How you react to things. Don't always think that you're right. You might be right most of the time, but sometimes you've got to admit, okay, did that wrong. How am I going to do it better next time? Get some advice off people. Not just me. There's other race directors out there that might have different opinions than me. But if you take bits off everybody, not just race directors, but other drivers, and then mould it all into one. And seat time. Like the more time you're in a car, obviously a lot of parents don't want to hear that because it's money. But the more you can do it, it's always going to learn. When I started at IndyCar, I was the marshal, but I was also the chief tester of the kart. So every morning I'd do about 150 laps. And funnily enough, I'm not saying I'm the best karter in the world, but it helped me because I was constantly in a car. Practice, work ethic, bit of drive, just learn from your mistakes. That's what I would say.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Clint.
No worries. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. See you next time.